Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to this evening's stream. This is quite a busy crowd. Obviously, you've all seen the news. If you haven't, if the mods could get those links ready to go into the chat. But there it is. That's our release day. We've announced now. So we will be releasing on Stadia on July the 1st. So really not too long now. So hopefully you can contain all of your excitement just a little bit longer. But we'll be with you shortly. Alongside that news, obviously, we've announced some other things. So things like the pricing structure for those who aren't going to be on Pro. So again, if the mods can get all those sorts of links together and ready. And we've also, obviously, we've shared some more information around how we're really excited to be showcasing the state share beta side of Stadia. So we've got a video and a blog post and things like that around how that's going to work. So again, if the mods can share those with the chat, that'd be great. We've got a bit of a special stream planned for this evening. It's going to be slightly different to the previous ones we've had where we've done some game creation. And this time we're going to still do a bit of game creation, but we're going to roll it in with playing a bunch of new games or a bunch of games that have already been made on Crayta. We've got a couple of interviews lined up with some of our indie fund developers who made some of our games for us. And I think we're just generally going to give you a big overview of Crayta and to generate a bit more hype. So if you're new to the stream, if you haven't been here before, then do make sure you subscribe as well, because we have all sorts of planned content over the coming weeks leading up to our launch and post-launch. And we've got quite a catalogue of videos already available. So just before we get going, I'm just going to jump into a quick video about our state share beta, if you haven't already seen it. Okay. You guys are live. Okay, cool. So here we are in Crayta. So we've got a bit of a crowd with us here today. So hopefully you guys can all see this okay. As always, let us know if there's any slight sort of sound or video issues, and we'll do our best to fix those on the fly. So we've got the usual group and some extra friends here with us today. We're going to be, as I say, going into a couple of games to play first, and then we're going to jump into creation, and then we'll go into some more games after that with some interviews mixed in. One thing I wanted to just kind of highlight first, and I know I've seen a few people asking this in the chat, kind of as we've been going through the the build up to the stream, is the characters and the way that you can kind of change those to really fit, your own kind of personality. I know we've got Lucy here on the stream with us, who is our art director, who's obviously had quite a lot of involvement in that side of things. So we've got, as you say, a good mixture here. So what I'm just going to do first is actually show you a bit more of that. If you guys wanted to maybe just jump ahead and get yourself into any, I think we're going to go to Crayta Cooking first. So
righto,
feel free to go find Crayta Cooking and go and jump in through there. Okay. So what you should be able to see now is a selection of outfits. So through the main menu, this is where we'll do all of our kind of character customization. So we have a few different options, and each of these options are kind of have various variants of style. These are things that you'll unlock over time, so they're not necessarily available off the bat. So we can go for various things. So I always quite like these ones, so different color variants of this one. The Mesmer is quite a cool sort of wizard sci-fi. High Noon Cowboys. Explorers, and again, some of them, really kind of really blend a nice. I don't know if you want to comment on them at all, Lucy, but just kind of that nice sci-fi touch to some sort of quite classic-looking outfits.
Yeah, we tried to always add a little touch of slightly futuristic to the outfits, because that ties in with our meta story of Crayta being a bit of a virtual reality space.
Cool. Okay, so once we've got our outfit, we can do some of the things here. So around the actual sort of physical appearance, so the body. So we've got sort of 3 body sizes, male and female. Okay, I'll settle back to this one. So quite a wide sort of palette of skin colours. The heads. So again, I don't know if you wanted to comment on sort of the idea behind the various faces and heads, Lucy.
Well, with the skin tones and with the heads as well, we tried to cover a massive range of ethnicities, so that people can represent themselves or role play whoever they want to be. They're all supposed to be inviting and fun faces. No, there's no I'm a mean person character there. They're all quite chipper.
They're all very very friendly looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so once we've kind of defined our character, we then get to go in to define some more things around their kind of appearance rather than their sort of physical attributes. So various hairstyles.
Yeah, we've got loads more to come as well. I love working on the hair. It's one of my favourite things.
Yeah, so as I say, all these things, because Crayta, we are games as a service. Over time, these things are going to slowly roll out, and we're going to have quite a much larger catalogue of things to customize your character with. Okay, and then we even get like a hair stripe, so we get different hair stripes depending on the hair that you picked. You can pick sort of the location of where this stripe sits. So it's just these finer details that now start to really pull your character into your own kind of like, your own person essentially. Because the idea within Crayta is your character follows you from the editor to play mode to various hubs. So everything you do in Crayta is with the same character. So we really wanted to make sure you could create that sort of personal touch.
Yeah, create an identity that stays with you throughout the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and a little bit of face makeup at the end is always a nice touch. And of course, a little bit of facial hair as well.
Which one have you gone for? That's a very important decision.
The facial hair.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like the handlebar. It's quite
yeah, that is a funny
it's quite
one.
charming. Yeah, it doesn't quite go with the mohawk though. I'm not sure. It's two very different aesthetics. So I might just go clean shaven for this one. Cool. So once we've defined our character and we've got certain things around that kind of we're happy with, there's a few more options up here. So we see that we can also change our drone. So we'll get into what the drones are a little bit later, but drones are a kind of really important part of Crayta. And they're sort of an extension of the characters. And here we see we've got a few different ones to pick from. So that's quite cool. And they have all these really nice, cute little animations that I know the animation team have really spent some time on making them feel quite lively. Crow is one of my kind of personal favourites with the really big wingspan. Cat gets its little ears. That's quite a nice one again.
Yeah. Again, we got loads of these waiting in the wings to join the family.
I've seen some really cool concepts for some of them actually. Little behind the scenes tip. Some very exciting ones coming.
Yes. Cool. We get a range of icons. So this is the icon that appears against your profile up in the top corner. And we've got a whole list of these to pick from. And again, all these things will expand over time. And then we get our actions. So the characters can perform actions in the game. So dance emotes. We can spray sort of tags onto the floor and the walls and the terrain. We've got music that will play from the drone. We've got all sorts. So here I could just pick between different filters. So various emotes, various sprays. So let's pick one of these. Go for this neon crater. Okay, emoticons. So these are actually kind of like a holographic image that will come out of the drone and play in world for people to see, which is a really nice way again of just making the drones feel alive and being able to sort of wave to players or give them a thumbs up, and it not necessarily be an emote, but it's kind of a big graphic that comes out of one of the drones. So we'll pick thumbs up, and then we have music, so we get this sort of sound wave of it here, but it's just short little snappy stings that the drone will play out to just kind of create that little bit of atmosphere in a nice way. You know, if you're hanging out with friends in one of the various Crayta hubs that will be created, or the various games in lobbies and such, you can just get a little bit of music going, sort of jams them together. Go for that one. Okay, cool. So hopefully that's been a good little introduction to the character customizer. I know we've not covered that too much in the past. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump back to the hub. See, everybody's left me. So we see some tags been left here on the floor. So if I add mine as well, so a quick spray for the next person to find. Okay, so where we are now, we're not necessarily in a game, but we're in one of this is the main hub for Crayta. And one of the beautiful things about Crayta is actually these sorts of spaces are things that creators will be able to create for themselves. So you don't necessarily have to just make strictly games. If you want to create your own social space to hang out in, this sort of thing is possible. We've actually got a stream of that sort of creation coming up very soon. So as I say, do make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube and set up your notifications to get notified as to when that stream is coming. I could browse these here. So if I wanted to say, for example, check out this game here, we get the images that appear. So nicely, if I run up to this one, I get a quick actual in-world view of what the gameplay might be from the short gameplay clip. Let me see, we've got a couple more over here, but I know the guys have jumped into Crayta Cooking, which looks like a pretty fun game. So I'm going to do the same. So I can interact with this here, and that's going to take me straight over there now. Oh, see, someone's just joined me. Okay, cool. So I started with not much money. I'm just going to hide my webcam so you can see the full screen. Okay. Oh, so we see there in the bottom left corner, I have 20 credits. Not enough for me to get in here. So I'm going to go play some Spooky Banquet.
Let me know if you've got enough chefs on your team, Russ. I can always come back, but I've moved to the next kitchen.
Okay, I think I've got a full kitchen here, so...
Nice.
Okay, right, where I'm right,
you're with us.
Straight in the middle of a round, so... Okay, you guys are going to have to tell me what I need to be doing here. I'm going to go grab there's a banana here, I'm going to grab that.
Who's this and what have you got? Oh.
Sounds a bit threatening, Sean. Who's this?
Right.
What have you got? What you got for me?
Okay, apples up here. I'm going to send that apple and banana fruit.
I need another banana. If there, there's one right in front of me. That's useful.
Okay, what I might actually just do, sorry, just quickly switch to my my controller here, because this is a game that plays really nicely on the controller.
Yeah.
So you go for it, Sean. What are you saying?
As I say, it does work really well, controller.
Right, I'm going to get that pineapple chopped.
Ah, who just nicked my...
What did they nick?
Okay, I need a banana. If anyone's holding banana. Got banana, anyone?
Oh, there's banana up here.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, that's not a chopping board.
Get that chopped.
Okay, Nana.
Okay, sending that. Oh, wait, it's not an order. What have I... Oh, that order just vanished. Okay, I'm going to bin that. Okay, what we've got next? Apple. I don't think we've made very much money this round.
There's a pineapple at the top. Oh, right. I didn't realize already. Gosh.
That's gone quick. Okay, cool. We'll see how that goes. So, okay, so for anyone who might be seeing this for the first time, this is an example of one of the games that we've made ourselves in-house. So this is Crayta Cooking. It's a kind of fast-paced party game. It's a really nice showcase of all of the UI that you can actually build in-game. So Adam, I don't know if you want to comment at all about sort of the various things you made in here for the UI and sort of just how easy it was.
Yeah, sure. So I can't take all the credit for the UI here. We actually had a UI artist, as you might tell, because it looks really nice. But yeah, so Crayta Cooking was quite an interesting game to make in Crayta because it's quite unlike any of the starter games that we've got. Even though I think it was originally derived from one of the starter games. And obviously, it's essentially a round-based drop-in, drop-out, crazy cooperative cooking game, which just kind of shows the power of what you can do with the Lua coding, where you can essentially just make something so completely different from anything else that's already been made in Crayta. And that's the sort of thing we really look forward to seeing when we launch on the 1st of July, is just games that completely blow us away with their sort of creativity and how different they are from the sort of things we've already seen. In terms of the UI, I guess it's a really good showcase of just how powerful the UI system is. So obviously, all of Crayta's UI can be written in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and that really shows here. So there's just so much variation in the UI just in this game. And you can see we've imported some of our own images as well for things like the ingredients. And when we play some of the games later, you'll see just how different some of the UI can look across different games.
Yeah, and I think that's a really nice thing, isn't it? When the UI feels different, it can really start to make the game itself feel kind of very unique to its own. You know, when you have kind of we have plans in the future for things like an asset importing pipeline for meshes and things like that. But I think the UI is a really nice way to start to really craft your own kind of look and feel of games. So right, we've got a minute left. I'm just running around. I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm panicking. Right.
Classic.
I'm going to grab this banana and chop it because I don't think we've got any going.
I've got a plate with some orange on it.
Oh, what's that? Oh.
Okay, right. Let's.
Oh, I see. That
I'm going to start gathering up. I've got a banana. Any orange? Orange. Oh, that order's just gone. Okay.
We need pineapples for days.
Pineapples. Okay.
I've got some apple. If anyone has a pineapple.
Banana. Oh, you just stole my pineapple.
Only in Crayta Cooking.
We're a team.
Okay, yeah. You could chop that. I'm going to grab this. And then I need a banana somewhere.
20 seconds left.
Okay, I'm going to send this one. Oh, I got one order out at least before. Oh, we've delivered 8. That's not too bad.
Yeah. If there's an apple, someone's got there's banana over here.
I've got an orange.
Quick! Leg it!
Leg
it!
Oh, never mind. Cool. Okay, right. I'm going to hold B to exit back to that lobby world. Okay, cool. So I'm going to leave you guys to keep playing that, and I think what we're going to do, what I'll do now. In fact, actually, if you guys are ready, maybe we could jump over to the next game. I think we should go over to Super Doom Wall now, which is one of the games that was made by our indie developers. So this time, instead of using that screen, the sort of the hub screens we saw before, I'm going to use our main menu. I'm going to navigate to it should be over here, Super Doom Wall. Okay, and we get this one. We get the same video here. So this is a little bit more kind of action based, I guess, and the idea is to try and get through the wall. In fact, rather than me tell you all about the game, this is probably a good time for us to jump into our interview with the developers. So I'm going to leave you guys in this chat, but feel free to sort of discuss and chat amongst yourselves.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so hi Nat.
Yeah.
And hi Andrew. So I'm going to hand over to Nat now, who's going to lead this next bit. So Nat, if you want to take it away.
Hi there. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. It's really exciting to see so many of you waiting and watching. So yeah, exciting news, 1st of July. What we thought we'd do to celebrate is get a couple of our indie fund developers on to chat to you and tell you about their experiences working in Crayta. So first up tonight, I've got Andrew Smith from Spilt Milk Studios. Do you want to say hi, Andrew?
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is it's really exciting.
And of course, Spilt Milk Studios are responsible for Super Doom Wall that you can see right now. You've not seen it in action in a little while, have you, Andrew? How's it looking to you?
Oh, it looks amazing. At the risk of sounding really big-headed, no, really excited to see you know, our old favourite. Basically, it's been a little while, and this is brilliant fun.
It's very cool to see it sort of starting to come to fruition now. So for those of you that aren't aware, we've obviously been working on Crayta for a good few years now, And late last year, we started an indie fund, or launched an indie fund, which was basically calling out to some, a selection of really interesting and exciting and varied indie developers to get them to create some initial games for the platform. So they all pitched some amazing ideas, and we chose a few to work with, and Spilt Milk were one of the ones that we picked. And this is one of the games. So a lot of the launch games that you're going to see when we come out on the 1st of July are from those indie fund developers. So Andrew, do you want to tell us a little bit first about yourself and a bit about Spilt Milk, and give us a sense of sort of how you heard about the indie fund in the first place, and how you heard about Crayta?
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, we're 10 years old ourselves now, which is terrifying. But we've been making games for all kinds of platforms for many years, and you and I, Nat, we go way back. I think it's safe to say. But we're based in the UK, and we're very much part of the scene here. I think people recognise us now, and so we were aware of some of the rumblings around it, and then when the fund got announced, it was just a really exciting opportunity. We're always struggling to find reasons not to play around with new tech as a studio. I mean, way back in the day, we did a game for Game City, like a jam game for use on these giant screens in VR. This was like right back in the day before it was even a commercial thing. So for us, the idea of being some of the first people to touch Crayta, in a sort of professional sense, was too much. We couldn't resist it.
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant to have you on board. So what were your first impressions when you first actually sort of got your hands on and had a look at what it was capable of?
Well, honestly, from everything we'd seen, it seemed to just do everything you'd want as a game developer, within some sensible restrictions. And then this is just from the videos that we'd seen and the sort of the closed beta stuff that you'd done previously. And then when we actually got our hands on, it's one of those rare moments where you kind of think there doesn't seem to be a catch here. It does actually just do most of the things that you'd want and expect. And I mean, part of that's down to obviously the incredible team and the experiences that you've all got over there at Unit 2 with as game devs, right? That's you kind of know ahead of time the kinds of things that are going to get in the way of making a fun game. And I think most of that is around iteration for us. Certainly, the sooner you can get in and start mucking around with your game and making decisions whilst playing it, the better the game's going to be.
And how did you find that process? Because it's quite easy for us to make it look amazing when we're demoing it, but like when you've actually got your ideas and you're trying to put them into practice, how did you find that sort of prototyping process?
Well, yeah, so we basically just rolled our sleeves up and jumped right in. There was some really good resources that you guys provided, tutorials and templates and things like that. But hopefully you can see from the video, like Super Doom was a bit of a weird game. We found it quite hard to describe, but so the best thing for us to do.
Please describe your game.
Oh God, put on the spot. It's sort of Smash Brothers meets like a really old Quake 3 mod called Rocket Arena. You're basically competing for points by knocking other players or contestants out of the arena, and by jumping through the wall that you have to blast holes in. So over time, there's not really any damage, but over time, the more you get hit and knocked around by other players' weapons, the further you'll get knocked by those weapons. So you can kind of see as people are doing these sort of indirect grenade hits on each other to try and ping them about. Yeah, so like for us, we just kind of had this very simple, very scoped down idea for a game that was the idea of a wall wiping across an arena where people are trying to fight, and that's the first thing that we did within the sort of the first few days. We were able to get that up and running, just with the team of 3 of us, and from there we were just able to kind of run with the idea. We'd always been fans of it, maybe being this a game show vibe to it. The multiplayer side of it was really important, but things like the power-ups that we've got in and the different weapons and the scoring on the wall, we'd never imagined that we'd be able to get that kind of level of sort of polishing gameplay depth in it. So yeah.
No, it's really cool, and it's great fun to play as well. What kind of top tips would you give people if they're getting started? Because obviously not everybody's an indie developer, not everybody's got a load of experienced people they can call on. If you're kind of fairly new and you fancy trying your hand at it, what suggestions would you have for some of the people watching?
I think, contrary to a lot of game dev, I would be like, just kind of don't be afraid of just diving in without really, obsessively checking out all of the docs and stuff. Just have a little play, have a little look, watch some videos, and then just start making stuff. I think one of the things about Crayta is that it's really robust, and it means that no matter what you do wrong, it's never really going to be permanent. It's never going to have like a negative effect beyond a few minutes of fixing it. For us, that was one of the really kind of nice things. We're able to broadly just kind of hack away, for want of a better word. I'm sure we're very professional coders and artists and designers, really, but sometimes you just need to kind of get stuck in and see where things take you. So even if it's your first experience of making anything like a game, then I would just say just dive in. Like the team's really friendly, the community's amazing, and the tech itself is just, it's very simple and easy to understand, and it's not going to fall over. Like we didn't really get it to fall over, and we're professionals, so
like what, 6 months or so ago, and so there was a lot, even more work been done on it since then. So
absolutely, yeah. I can see from this footage just like some of the improvements that have come through just from the tech, and it's looking fantastic.
So do you think you guys will go back into the game once it's live and add some new bits and pieces to it? Or
I think be really hard to stop ourselves. Just the idea of being able to play it with other people, that will lead to ideas and balances and tweaks that we want to do. And yeah, I think we'll get stuck in and have a lot of fun with it. I can't wait.
What are you most proud of so far?
Oh, crikey. To be honest, I think the bonus flashy 500 golden wall bit is really, really cool. But I honestly just, like, I'm surprised. I've rarely worked on a game that's come out so close to the original sort of vision and actually better in some respects. So yeah, really, really pleased with that.
That's good. And what are you most excited about seeing what people do with Crayta when it comes out?
I mean, it's going to be amazing seeing all the cool riffs on existing games and that kind of stuff. Like someone's probably going to try and make a sort of a Fortnite alike or something like that, and that's really cool. But I think, like, for me, seeing stuff like I'm biased on it, but stuff like Super Doom, or something that's like just this kind of weird stuff that you've never even kind of thought of or expected. I don't know how long Super Doom will stay a competitive esport, but we can hope, and maybe
6 months time, you never know.
Well, exactly, yeah. The best thing would be that someone, like, everyone responds really well to it, and then someone else makes something even better and more exciting and kicks us off that spot. Do you know what I mean? That would be the best thing.
Cool. Well, we probably need to hand back to Russ now, and he can show people about some of the rest of the stuff. You're going to be hanging around for a few minutes, and I know Andrew Roper, one of your partner in crime, is in the chat as well. So if any of you have got any sort of specific questions for the Spilt Milk guys, then drop them in there. Otherwise,
absolutely.
Thank you very much for joining us, Andrew, and thanks for your help in your amazing game.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having us.
Cool. Okay, yeah, no, thank you. That was really interesting insight. I was finding it really hard to concentrate on getting through the wall while actually listening to those those answers. So my gameplay's not been fantastic. I promise I can play games. So cool. Okay, thanks guys. I'm going to jump back across to the main group.
Cool, no worries.
Okay, so hi gang, how are we getting on?
Before, right?
Good.
Hi, JJ's winning.
JJ's winning.
Because he's tall.
I won the first round, and I was listening to an interview, so I don't know what your excuse is, but cool. Okay, so we'll finish this round. We've got 30 seconds left. Let's see if we can. Oh, Adam's winning now. See if we can knock Adam off the top. JJ and Adam.
How do you feel about that, JJ?
I've lost where the wall is. There it is.
How'd you lose the wall? It's huge.
I just got turned around.
It's slightly big.
Come on, let's get through this somewhere.
I know. I keep getting so close to getting to 500.
Oh.
Rubbish.
1 second left. There we go.
Yes.
Adam wins. Okay, cool. Right, so I'm going to jump back to the hub now, guys, if you want to do the same.
Cool.
Okay, so yeah, so hopefully that's been an interesting insight to a couple of the games that will be available to play at launch on July the 1st. What we're going to do now, you see everybody's come to join us back at the hub, is if we could all run off, I'm going to go and start creating a game, and I'm going to invite all of my super friendly helpers to come and join me. So to create a game, again, we don't have to go anywhere. We stay within Crayta, so it's super easy. I just hit the escape key, and now we're going to go to the create tab. And again, all of this is available on the controller as well. So don't forget, these sorts of things will be really quite cool and simple to do from the comfort of your own living room on a Chromecast through Stadia. So I'm going to create this from one of our starter games. Now, we provide a whole list of starter games which give you a base sort of to start from. You can start from an empty slate, which would literally just give you a bit of terrain to stand on, and that's it. So you'll then have to start defining all of your own scripts and game logic to really craft your own experience. But what we do, in most cases, if you want to have a bit of a head start, then we do have these starter games available to you. So I'm going to start from this one, which is a survival game mode. And it's just, the description here is simply a simple survival shooter. The last player alive wins the round. Okay, so I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call this Musical Rooms. So if anyone in chat can guess what kind of gameplay Musical Room fits, I'll be very impressed. But
it's not what you think.
Yes, probably not what you think. Okay, so let's go and pick a image to go with this. Oh, this is always a tricky choice, but I think I'll just let's go for this one, skyscrapers. Okay, create and enter. And what that will do now is that will take me into the editor. So again, we're still staying within Crayta. There's no external programs or anything. The editor is all built in here. Okay, cool. So here we are straight away. So we see it's very similar to the game. I've still got my character control to control. I'm still running around using the similar controls. So the kind of, with the controller, it'd just be very familiar gameplay. The thumbsticks move and look around, all that sort of stuff. WASD on a keyboard, mouse to look around. A very basic, very sort of gamified editor experience, to start with, and then we'll show you kind of the depth of the editor and how we can take it into a much more advanced state. But what I want to do first is invite some friends in. So I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to click this option down here, create share link. Okay, it's going to give me a warning here to say about sharing. And I understand, yep, I want to share this. Okay, and then I'm just going to provide this link here, or I could obviously, when we're at launch, we'll have a link to share. Okay, so I've just shared that code with some people, so hopefully that will work with them if I type that in correctly. And we should start seeing people arrive here now in the editor any second.
Musical Rooms.
Here we come.
Here they come. Cool. Okay, so again, as these arrive, what we're seeing here is that now we're in the kind of really showing off the collaborative side of Crayta. So we're all in the same editor. We're building this game together collaboratively in real time, which is a really, really cool, fun, exciting way to actually start creating games. Okay, so as more people arrive, I think there's a rough plan for you guys to follow, that you know what you're doing. So I'm just going to run everyone through the kind of the basic mechanics and the advanced mechanics and that thing. So basically, ready, set, go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my controller for this first part, and again, this mode is available on PC, keyboard, or via a controller. You'll start to see things change around me. So see the horizons changing, the floors getting coloured in. All these things are happening because the other players in my world are doing them. And again, that's the real-time collaboration kicking in. So we're starting to see each other's changes happen sort of instantly. Okay, so using my controller, and again, this is a really nice way to actually sit on your sofa in your front room comfortably, playing on your Chromecast on your big screen. Other players can be using the more advanced techniques. So we see one player's now equipped their drone, and we can see the drone up there in the sky, a couple of drones buzzing around, getting ready to do some more advanced operations. And while they're doing that, we see their players here busy tapping away on their keypads. So again, it all feels alive. It feels like a really nice experience here. That's just joining in. Okay, cool. Oh, big trees here. So what we want to do is I'm going to go to the library. Okay, so from here we get an idea of a lot of the way the world is put together. So we have a lot of voxels, sort of voxel materials. We have a lot of meshes, so 3D sort of textured models and things that you can bring into the game and use. We have a list of various effects. We have a massive catalogue of sounds to use, so sound effects, music soundtracks, all made with a really talented audio director here at Unit 2 Games. So there's some amazing soundtracks in here to start playing with, and we're going to sort of take advantage of a couple of those as part of this game we're making. Okay, so I'm going to grab a couple of these to showcase to you. So I'm going to go for jungle plants, and as I'm pressing A, you might see that they're appearing at the very bottom on the taskbar. I'm just going to hide the webcam again to make sure I'm not covering too much up. Okay, and then we've got, I'm going to grab one of these neon bars, and let's maybe go for disco as well. Okay, so one of the things we tried to do in Crayta is make the voxel materials really feel alive and really feel kind of like vibrant. And one way we've achieved that is to make them more than just sort of basic colors and basic materials. So let's select the this block here. So as you can see, I'm moving around, and I've got this block, which is almost like a brush at this point. So I can choose to apply this brush. I can toggle the size of that, so let's make it slightly bigger. Okay, then if I just press the R2 button, we're going to stamp one of these down. Or if I was to hold it, I could move and start sort of brushing around with this. Okay, we can go back and do the same. Right, and what you might notice here is that simple block is now actually quite a lot more sort of dynamic and sort of very much more interesting. So we have this concept here that that Crayta knows where the top edge of this voxel is, and it's actually starting to put this scatter asset of jungle bush on top of it, which is a really nice way again to make your scene feel really alive really quickly. We also have things like our neon blocks, so we can see this is actually given us a little bit of a glow and a light to it, and again it's a really nice one to paint around and start to make certain parts of levels really start to pop and feel different. And then we've even got some sort of slightly more crazy ones like our disco block, so that's cycling through all sorts of different colors. So I can imagine there's many different ways that you could be using that in your games. To hold L2, I would delete. Okay, so let's just delete some of these. Okay, and if we ever make a mistake, so like that I've gone too far, I can simply just press the left D-pad to undo those things. So we encourage creators to really start just trying and playing and not be scared of doing anything. So we offer quite a long stack of undos, so you can undo quite a few operations. Don't worry too much about kind of making mistakes. We kind of encourage, as you heard in the interview, a really nice way to learn Crayta and learn game development is to just dive in and start. And that's one thing we really want to make sure we did with Crayta, was offer the tools to really make sure that creators didn't feel scared about making changes and kind of worry about what they were doing. It's just jump in and just get going with it. Okay, we have a couple more sort of slightly higher level tools available to the basic mode users. The levels coming together nicely. So if I go to this, I can use a fill operation. So I can sort of flood fill a certain range of voxels. So if I was to do this, we'd instantly see the floor become a great big disco. I'm not sure everyone's going to be too pleased with that, so I'm just going to undo that one. We'll leave it as this sort of grid that we've got it for now. We have an extrude option, which again is a really nice way of quickly getting sort of areas of terrain built. So we see we've got this face highlight as I look at various sort of faces of this. So if I was to just hold R2 and start moving this way, I'm actually going to start pulling that face out. And as you can see, that's a really quick, really nice way of just tidying up certain areas and just sort of, really starting to quickly get areas together. Okay, so if I undo a couple of those, we'll go back to here. We also have our grow and erode tools. So if you wanted to make your terrain feel a little bit more dynamic, so less flat, we have this option here. So if I hover over here, hold the R2 and strafe, we get this option. Didn't mean to do that in disco, so let's select the plants. Again,
Is ISCO ever a mistake?
I guess not actually. Okay, so hopefully, yeah, you can see that we've got this sort of slightly more dynamic looking terrain. So if I do that here, you can see we start to build up this kind of real quick forming sculpting kind of option here for the terrain, and we have the opposite effect. If I just cycle back through, so L2 is going to do the opposite, and that's going to start sort of eroding away there. So that's a really nice way of creating these little slopes and hills and starting to kind of really make the scene feel alive and a bit less flat. Okay, so now we've got that. The next mode we could start to use, well actually if I just show you the next bit, so if I go to meshes here, so we get to a whole list of meshes that are available to us that are filterable by tags. So if I search through here for Jungle Expedition, okay, that's going to filter the list by our Jungle Expedition theme pack. Okay, and I think let's place a couple of trees in here. So I'm going to get a tree on my hotbar. Let's go for a nice straw hut. Okay, so now I can sort of simply stamp this tree. And I want this hut here with the neon block inside. Why not? Okay, so that's again really simply, really quickly, and really quite easily we can start to make the scenes feel very vibrant, full of trees, full of all sorts of different meshes. And what we can also do at this point is if I interact with this, I'm going to equip my drone, but in a basic mode view. Okay, so now we see we get a slightly different view. So my character is now busy tapping away on his keypad, and I'm actually focused on this specific entity itself. So again, still all on the controller, I'm able to start changing more specific, slightly more advanced things about this. And this is a really nice bridge to get players who might want to start learning the more advanced techniques to start understanding how things like the properties might work. So if I wanted to adjust the position, I have this vector up here that I can start adjusting. So if I click in here and I can just start positioning this on a slightly finer sort of degree of accuracy. If I wanted to rotate it, let's get the right rotation. So take that around there. Okay, and we have all sorts of different things here. Maybe I want to change the mesh, without necessarily deleting it and selecting another one. So I can select a different mesh here from this drop down. So let's go for what's a good one here? Animal skeleton rib cage. So this big rib cage. Again, it's quite a cool one. I'm interested to see what sort of gameplay things people come up with out of this. And then at any point I press return back to my character. Okay, we mentioned we had the drone, so if I double tap A to jump, I actually now possess my drone, and that allows me to fly around the level slightly more free. I can see what the guys have been doing. Adam, do you want to just talk us through the game mode that we're trying to build here slightly? I think you've got an idea of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not sure how much you've already said. I've been focused on building up these rooms. But as Russ alluded to, this game is musical rooms, which is basically musical chairs, but rooms and in Crayta, if that makes any sense at all. So essentially, there's going to be a round that lasts a minute or two, and there'll be music playing. And then when the music stops, it'll cut out and one of the doors to the rooms will open and everyone's got to rush into that room. And if you are the last one in, then basically you die, you're eliminated, and then the remaining players will just carry on playing in the round until there's only one player left standing and they become the winner for that round, and then a new round starts. So yeah, it's like musical chairs. Music stops, everyone has to find a seat, except it's crazy themed rooms in whatever wacky environment we're building here.
Yeah, pretty much that sums it up. That's I think it's my idea, but I think you've explained it better than I could. So cool. Okay, so at any point now we're kind of ready to move on to the advanced features. So with the keyboard and mouse, I can press the tab key, and that's going to possess my drone. But now you'll see that the UI is slightly different again. So this time we have things that will be more familiar to people who have played or used tools such as Unity or the Unreal Engine or any kind of slightly higher level sort of game development tool. So we have things here like the wheel tree over on the right hand side, which allows us to organize our hierarchy, sort of interact with entities through that tree. We have our library on the left, which again was available to the basic players, but here we have it kind of as a tab on the side. And we have access to sort of a few more tools. We can still do things like the extrusion, but again, now it happens sort of with keyboard and mouse in a slightly different way. Still undo. We can do the flood fill, but we have also things like a shape tool, so we can define brushes with the shape tool and drag those out, and then when we're happy with our shape we can click apply or hit enter, and then we end up with that there. Okay, and then again sort of eroding, so we can do all the eroding that we could do in the other mode, and growing, those sorts of things. Volume select, so if I have a section of voxels that I actually want to kind of separate from the terrain and treat them like any other entity, I can use my volume select around there, click extract at the top, and now I can actually grab and move these, and these actually now exist in the world tree as their own entity. So what that allows us to do is actually do some sculpting and creating and building things out of the voxels that we can then introduce into our own gameplay. We can treat them like any other entity, so they can have scripts attached to them, they can have lights attached to them. We can really start to, you know, customize our own sort of assets essentially by building them out of voxels. I'm just going to leave that there for now. Okay, cool. So it looks like you guys have been nice and busy. What I'm going to do is come and help you now, Adam. So whereabouts are you up to? What do you need help with?
So I was just attaching a door script to the doors so that we can tell the doors when to open and close. So if you wanted to help me out with that, that would be very handy.
Yeah, cool. So if I hit Control O, have you already created it? So door script.
Yep, door script.
Okay, cool. So as you can see, I'm now in my code editor. So again, I'm in the same editor experience. I've not had to jump out to any external programs or anything, go anywhere particularly. The beauty of that is actually you can see you can't see me because the webcam's off, but I'm not typing right now. Adam's here in the code editor with me, actually doing a lot of the typing. So a big part of Crayta is we wanted to make sure it was as collaborative as possible. So collaboration was really important to us. With kind of making it fun and exciting. I can see that Adam, I'm doing the typing, yay, I'm on TV. So so we're actually here in real time working together in the same script instance. So I'll do your close function for you.
Nice.
So I guess you just want to play an animation on this.
Yeah, it's probably the most simple script we'll ever see.
Yes. Okay.
So literally an open plays the open animation, close plays the closing animation. That's it.
That's it. Nice. Okay. So this is very much a more high level or much more kind of deep tool within Crayta. So the Lua coding is where it really starts to open up the power of how you can make games as flexible and kind of really start to craft your own experiences, your own gameplay, your own rules. If you aren't a Lua coder, or if you don't sort of want to get into that side of things, we do have the option to share code through a community tab. So we have this option up here where we can share packages. Now packages allow you to kind of put together templates and assets and things that you've made that you want to share with other creators to allow them to add to their games. You can package those up for people to download and use in their games, and that includes things like scripts. So don't worry, if you want to have a working door in your game and you don't want to get into the code side of things, there's a good chance there'll be one in the community tab for you to use. Or if not, and if you know someone who is happy to help, then the power of the collaborative side of things is actually really nice, because you could have someone come into your editor and in real time talk you through what they're doing and sort of start to teach you that way. So as a learning opportunity as well, this collaborator is really good, really powerful tool. Okay, so I think what we'll probably do next, while we're in the script side of things, I'm going to start our little kind of game script that's going to power the game. So as I say, we did start with a starter game that came with some logic to sort of run a bit of almost like a battle royale style game mode. So you have kind of weapons and last player alive wins. So we're going to adjust that slightly and take the guns away. But what I want to find here is I'm going to search my world tree for game controller. Okay, and if we just look at the world, we see we've got this sort of game locator which came with the world that has various properties on it here. So a game script with a whole list of properties that can be adjusted. We'll get to those a little bit later. And we also have our elimination game script on top of that, which is just another script that came with the game that you can start to pull apart and tweak and learn from. But what I want to do is add another one here. We're going to add a new script. Okay, and this is going to be musical rooms script. Okay, so now I'm in my musical room script. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start pulling out some little bits of, kind of explain a few things, but then Adam's going to jump in, I think, and help and probably finish this one off. So we want to add some properties here. Okay, so we have various properties, and properties are a way of exposing things to the front end for other users to use. But let's say you're a coder and you've got some logic that you're really kind of pleased with that you're building up and you want to share it with people, but those people aren't necessarily people who want to jump in and start playing with any code. You can actually put things through to the front end. So for example, a game designer might be more familiar with tweaking numbers and selecting options rather than adjusting any code. So you could write your script in such a way that people can actually come in and start playing with the properties of the script rather than actually changing the code itself. So we want to have a few properties defined up here. The first one is going to be, let's say the time between the rounds. So once a door's been selected and that small round's finished, how long will it be before the next round starts? So let's go with time between rounds. Okay, and that's of type number. And what I can do now is actually define some things around this from like kind of a control standpoint. So if I want to say the default for this number will be 5, let's say the min is 1 because we don't want it to be any less than 1 second, and the max is 10. So even as a coder here, I could share this with people and define the parameters in which they can use this, and that again just helps you really kind of lock your logic down and stops it from being kind of broken in ways that you didn't expect. I now know that players will only be able to select between 1 and 10. Okay, so I'm just going to save this, and then if I just hide that little section there. Okay, so down here in the bottom corner we should see now that we have this property that's appeared called time between rounds, the number 5. Okay, so as I say, we can use this property now in our script, and that's actually something now that creators can use outside of it. Okay, cool. Let's go with what else do we need? So we need a couple of events and an array. Oops. Okay, so we want to have a selection of doors. So our doors here are of type entity. The container of type array. Okay, so once we're in a position where we can save that. Okay, so again, we get this new property down here, and because we've defined it with a container, we can, with an array, we can actually now start to have an array defined here. So all the doors will get put into this array. So there's a whole list of options here available, and if you are interested in this side of Crayta, we're not going to dive too much deeper into the code now, but we have a whole list of live streams we've already done where these things are. We go into a little bit more detail. We did a Lua scripting masterclass a few weeks ago, so if you do subscribe to the channel, make sure you go check out that playlist. You'll be able to find, maybe if one of the mods could throw that up, I'll put you on the spot, could throw that into chat now, maybe a link to the masterclass Lua stream. That's something to make sure you do go check out after if you are interested in this side of things. Okay, so on room open of type event, so we'll expose a property event that players can tap into, and we'll do the same on room reset of type event, and I think Adam's already defined those somewhere. Again, while I've been talking, we see this code base is actually starting to build up because Adam's there busy typing away. So that works really nicely from that sort of standpoint.
Give it a couple of minutes and we should have a fully working
We
script to
should
run
do.
this crazy musical rooms game.
Okay, cool. I might leave that there with you then. Actually, I think you're
Sure.
making pretty good progress on that. Yeah. Cool. Okay, I'm going to return back to my game. Sweet. So what I'm going to do now is actually some of those set some of these things up here. So if I go back to the library over here. Okay, so one thing we want to do here is introduce another script that we've written earlier. As I say, this is kind of a musical chairs kind of game. So we want to have a little bit of a music package that Adam wrote earlier, which is going to play some music. And you've used the API actually, Adam, to do kind of an interesting thing with the music. If you want to talk about that quickly.
Yeah, sure. So whenever you've got a sound entity in the game, through the property window, you can change things like the sound that it's actually playing or the pitch or the volume. But actually, those properties are also available through the Lua API for that entity. So what I do is when I stop the music, we want to play a sort of DJ disc scratch sort of effect. And essentially what I do is on all the clients, I sort of tweak the pitch. So I use a sine wave to tweak the pitch low and then high and then low and then high. And it gives you this sort of as the music cuts out, which you'll see when Russ plays the game. Seems to work quite nicely.
Yeah, it was one of those little ideas we had. And again, it's kind of the beauty of Crayta is we had this idea early, didn't we? And it was quite quick to just sort of throw it together and see how it worked and tweak it. And yeah, it kind of came out really nicely. Cool. So I've just downloaded that script that we used earlier. So we see we have this music scratch option. So I'm just going to stick that in the world tree for you, Adam. I can drop
Cool,
that
thank
there.
you.
We see again that's come with this this script here and a bunch of properties already defined. So Adam knows, the creator of this script and this package, that when people pull it into their game, they've got kind of a default place to start from, and it's going to actually start working alongside kind of their gameplay. Okay, cool. So what we want to do now is actually pick the music that we're going to have. So to do that, I think what Adam's done here is he's linked here through the script to this music entity. Okay, and this music entity is a sound entity, so therefore we can use the drop down here to pick which sound we want. And I know we've got a bunch of cool music I mentioned earlier, so let's just play some of that now. So start to get some feel for these sorts of things. So there's a whole different all sorts of different genres and uses for these sort of sounds. Okay. Something a bit more retro, a bit more fun. Okay, I think we're going to settle for this one. Cool. Okay, and I think that's all I need to do there, Adam, isn't it? It's just pick that music.
Yeah, pretty much. You can adjust some of the properties of how the music scratch effect actually works, but I think they're probably set up by default to be quite good anyway.
I'm sure they are, seeing as you set them up yourself. Okay, cool. Right, so looking ready. I'm not quite sure what theme pack this meat room is is demonstrating, but this is a
it
nice.
was going to be jungle, but...
a nice use of our meat voxels.
Oh God, I left that one well alone.
Let's just say someone's made that their own.
They certainly have. Feel free to
Maggie
change
just
the doors on the front as well. Various doors. Pick from
we have a meat door.
This mini castle's looking really cool.
No, Sean, we don't have a meat door.
It's
Sure,
I
a,
hope not.
it's, this is
That'd be
a
good something.
really nice use actually. So one of our meshes being used alongside the voxels. So a big part of Crayta again was making it as accessible as possible. We wanted to make things work together as well as possible. So the meshes here really kind of blend nicely with the voxels. So we have obviously a voxel structure here with the sort of kind of the walls, but then all these things here. So the this turret on top and the windows and the door are all meshes that kind of fit in really nicely. And some of the meshes here actually give us this nice kind of transparency effect. I really do like this stained glass window. I think it's one of our kind of really cool meshes. Excellent. Okay, so let's get these doors put into our array here. I've just seen Joachim's pickup truck. I need to go check this out. Oh wow!
It's not made of meat.
No, I think it's made of red metal. So,
Oh, okay.
this is cool. So a little voxel structure. Nice. I can't wait to see what that's actually going to do, because I know Joachim's good at his Lua scripting. So we'll see if he's got any tricks up his sleeve with that.
Oh, I'm sure he will have.
I'm just swapping out the door on the western building for a saloon door if someone wants to update that for me. Script and things.
It should
As
be
long as
okay.
it's just the mesh.
Yeah, if you just
Sorry.
change the mesh, it should work just fine. But yeah, Adam, if you want to just double check.
Oh, I see. Yeah, do it that way. Got you.
Yeah, just click on room door and change the mesh asset.
Fancy.
Okay, so let's drag and drop these doors into our script so it knows how to connect with them. Okay, and then what was next? So we've got to set some things up. So part of the script that we've written is to actually power a little bit of our own game loop. So we're going to take the game controller that we kind of came with the game, and we're actually going to utilize some of the functions or the events that powers. Not there. If I go back to my game script. Okay, so we've got these exposed events here. So on lobby start and end, on the round start and end. So we can do certain things around kind of at certain points of the game, we can get certain events to fire. And again, this is just the default behavior of this game, this starter game that we kind of started this from. You could create this sort of game from scratch, entirely using all your own logic. This is just a really nice way to throw ideas together quite quickly. Okay, so on round start, it's going to call an event on its own entity, but the music ream script, and it's going to call the run game. So just simple drop down selection there for which function we want to call. Get rid of that. Okay, and then next we want to do the same again on round end. Make sure we end the game. Okay, and then just another one on round end. Just make sure that all the doors get closed. In case any get left open. Close all doors. Okay, so finally what I need to just do here is go to my user template. So we've not spoke about templates much, and again we do have a masterclass of templates and packages. So if that's sort of, again, those sort of slightly more involved practices are interesting to you, then do make sure you check out the those masterclasses. So if I go to my user template, we have this concept of users and players. So the users, you need to think of those as the kind of the account, the actual physical player that's playing the game. So this is where you can do things like loading information about we can save information to users, and you can load that information. So we have some games like Tumbleweed Ridge, which is a farming game, so you can save kind of player states of what inventory they're holding, for example. You can save all that sort of stuff. Anything you can get into a Lua table, obviously with some restrictions here and there, but mostly, you can save things to the user and load them. Anything you want to happen to a player when their physical character is not alive, you would do on the user. And then we have our players. So our players are kind of the actual character that is in the game. So we have our player template and our user template. What I want to do here is just remove this script here, which is inventory default script, which is going to give players a gun at the start, because we don't want any guns in this game. Okay, and again, this is all stuff that came with the starter game. If you were to do this from an empty slate, your user template would come with the game, but it would be empty, and it would give you the option then to add your own scripts and your own logic around that sort of thing. Okay, oh, nice grass floor now. Oh, the meat room just got a whole lot better, with a bit of a dinosaur on top of it. Okay, so how are we looking, Adam? Do you think we're about ready to go? If you're there.
Sorry, I was just on mute for a bit while I concentrated on the building.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we're about ready to go.
I think
Sorry.
I think I've hooked up everything. So okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit the preview button, and you'll see what we do is we very quickly actually get into the preview state. So we don't have to wait for the game to build. We don't have to wait for it to do any sort of light map baking and anything like that. We kind of very quickly just straight into preview. So the iteration speed is it's one of those things that is really, really important. Oh, music scratch. Which door opened? I think it was this one. Who's going to be last? Who's going to be last?
I forgot to turn my music down.
Who didn't make it? Oh, there's still multiple people outside?
What?
Or is
Either
everybody here? Or
Either that or I've written the script wrong. I'm starting to think it might be the first one.
Okay,
I ran past someone.
Wait, quick head count. How many of us are there? There's 8 of us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's nothing in the console about eliminating people.
Is everybody here?
Well, one person stayed outside, but they should be dead.
No, that's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah. One person here. Standing still.
Everybody wins.
Okay.
Everyone's a
Okay.
winner.
Well, let's just jump back and have a quick look at see what mistakes we've probably made along the way there. So again, the quick iteration speed. I'd like to say we did that on purpose to show that, but I'm sure we can fix that whatever that problem was. But the quick iteration speed there is we can jump in, we can start to kind of get an idea of how the game feels, and if there are any problems, then we can quickly jump back, see how those things are getting on.
I imagine it's probably an event we've forgotten to hook up somewhere. Are the doors connected to the game script?
They should be.
Let me just check. Not the doors, the triggers behind them even. They are not.
Oh, they're not.
Wow.
Okay, let me fix. They're connected to the game entity, but you didn't say which function to call.
Ah,
So it's
okay.
musical room script on player enter, is that correct?
Yes, yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, I never hooked up the trigger. Okay, cool.
That should be ready.
That should be ready. Okay, happy to go. Have you
Okay.
set them
Yeah.
set them to players only? Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, let's go straight back in, and hopefully this time it'll work.
I can hear music now. Good choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Big thumbs up, guys. Music scratch. Oh, there we go.
Which door?
Okay.
Who died?
Matt Bailey
Someone's there.
was eliminated.
Ah.
Next round.
R.I.P. Oh,
Oh. It's not
Oh.
the. Yeah,
That was quick.
who's left?
Oh, he
Okay.
didn't make it that time.
Maggie
Oh,
didn't make it that
Maggie.
time.
come on. I'm waiting for the meat room.
Oh, jail again.
Oh no!
Oh, I'm stuck in the
Oh,
door.
I was stuck in the door.
There's a queue.
Okay, form a queue. Oh no! Oh, I got eliminated. Oh, it's a mass wipe.
Yes, meat room.
Oh, it sounds so
It's
gross.
horrifying.
It makes a squishy noises.
I don't
Okay.
understand how you made a meat room without adding noodles.
Okay, 1-on-1. Who's left?
Ah, I forgot we had noodles.
Also, meat room again. Oh no.
Oh,
Oh.
So close, Sean.
oh, that was fun. Okay, right. Let's one more quick round,
Alright.
and then we'll go. Let's stay nice and quiet because I think when we talk, it's going to dip the music because of the way I've got the stream set up. So let's play this round in silence so everyone can
Silence.
hear the stream.
Aw.
So close.
Blocking doors is quite a dangerous tactic.
Yeah.
Oh.
You got
Oh,
me. That's
just
fine.
me and you, Sean.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a bet. It's this side. Yes.
Oh. Oh my god.
Cool. Okay. Oh, I think that's a pretty fun little working game loop. So that's always yeah. As I say, hopefully you get an idea of how how quick and how fun and how just how easy it is to kind of throw these little silly game ideas together. But what we might do now, if you guys want to just drop back to the hub, I think what we'll do now is we'll jump into a game which is not necessarily quite as quick of a build, but something that was much bigger, a much more involved project. It's another one of our indie games. So we're going to jump into Huddle for Warmth. And while we do that, we've actually got the devs of Huddle for Warmth on standby. So I'm going to leave you guys while we jump in and jump over to do the interview over there.
Have fun.
Do you know what?
Okay, hi guys. Sorry,
Hiya.
a little bit later
Hey.
than planned. We're having far too much fun creating our silly game over there. So cool. So I'm about to jump into Huddle for Warmth. So Nat, if you want to introduce us to the team.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, again, thank you for everybody that's joined us. There seems to be like 3 times as many people as when we were chatting earlier. So I'm Natalie Griffith. I'm the marketing director at Unit 2, and I am here with Fernando and Dean, who are from Double Blit Games. Do you want to introduce yourself? guys?
Oh, yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Fernando Mello. I'm the founder of Double Blit Games in Edmonton, Canada.
Yeah, I'm Dean Roskell. I'm also in Edmonton, Canada, and I worked on Huddle for Warmth with Fernando and with Double Blit Games.
Great, and thank you for joining us for our exciting release date announcement stream. So for those of you that weren't here earlier or haven't been following us since the beginning, Double Blit guys are part of our indie fund, indie developer lineup. So late last year, we announced an indie fund to try and work with a really interesting sort of varied selection of indie developers to help build some games for you guys to play when the game was first launched. We had an incredible number of applications and some really interesting ideas, and this one in particular really stood out. So yes, this is Huddle for Warmth. So you'll kind of see that going on in the background, but we thought we'd invite the guys on to kind of tell you a little bit about it and a little bit about their background. So do you guys want to introduce yourselves properly to everybody and kind of give people a sense of your experience and what attracted you to come and apply for the Indie Fund in the first place?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I've been working in games for over 20 years, mostly as a producer. And then recently, just before starting Double Blit late last year, I was actually at BioWare, where I was working as a producer on both Dragon Age and Mass Effect franchises. And that's kind of where I met Dean as well.
Yeah, similar story. I've been in the games for over 20 years as a level designer and game designer mostly, although I did do a stint as a producer as well. And yeah, I joined BioWare and was there working on Dragon Age and Mass Effect, and then left to become an indie developer. And and that's how we ended up in this position.
So how is the leap from working on something like Mass Effect to doing your own little indie things? That must be quite a culture shock.
In some ways, but it's also really, really fun. Like you were asking a little bit about what was it that appealed to kind of apply to join the Indie Fund program and stuff. And one of the things that I found really, really amazing when I saw Crayta and what it could do is that it just feels like this giant kind of development toy box. Whereas a lot of times, like Dean and I were chatting earlier, it just kind of feels like in order just to get even little bit of gameplay going, you have to get so much sort of the plumbing and basics down. Whereas something like this, you can literally start it up, open up a template, take a look at some of the other assets, and have something that you can play in minutes, which is amazing.
Yeah, I guess to add to that as well. Sorry, just the element of the sell of having this tool set being put in front of you, and the on paper everything looked great. When we read about the Indie Fund and what the promise was, and we said, well, if this is it, we can open up the tool set and start building something. Then we get this chance to jump in and start building a game right from the get-go. Gameplay seemed to be there from the trailers that we saw. So yeah, that was the promise, and that's what came true.
Good stuff. Glad to hear it. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how Huddle for Warmth works? Because it's probably not one that's so easy for people to sort of work out what's happening just from watching it in the background. It's a really interesting concept.
Yeah, the
Yeah, for sure.
concept was
Go for
an
it.
odd one. We saw when we heard about the indie fund, we saw obviously the spec from Crayta about what the platform could do, about the generation of the landscapes, how it uses the voxel system to generate environments, the way that the characters are, the third person or first person style characters, and a few of the elements there, and then a couple of the requirements as well. We've obviously got this multiplayer out of the box scenario. The Stadia platform is always online, so you've got other people that you can jump in the game to play with. So we had these ideas as we came through, and we said, okay, well, let's think about something that takes as many of these ideas in as it possibly can, but still build something in in the amount of time that we had to build out the game, which wasn't a huge amount of time. This is not a many years development game. So we set off with I think it was about 6 or 7 concepts, which kind of came up with over a weekend. And the idea was like to try and make something novel. We knew that the Crayta platform was going to feature a lot of games, so we wanted to try and make sure that we were building something that, well, what our prediction was going to be something different from other people. So we tried to just play around with picking out an idea that would be different, rather than say pick something that was more of a kind of a known genre of title that we might expect to see on Crayta. Hopefully we do see other things come on here, but we pushed our ideas out there to create something novel. So yeah, we should explain what the game actually is from that point. Do you want to do that, Fernando?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like as Dean was explaining, one of the things we wanted to make sure we wanted to do was not just have a first-person shooter, and so we kind of leaned into this idea of exploring the environment. We also really loved the idea of having people collaborate in a multiplayer game, because of course everything is connected in through Stadia and Crayta. So this idea of kind of collaborating through the space, and when we actually started working on this was right in the middle of winter. We're based in Edmonton, Canada, which is really cold, and there's lots of snow. So we kind of figured, something that would be really cool is we actually get players to have to huddle in order to kind of protect themselves from the cold. And that's kind of one of the core ideas that we had. So the idea is you kind of go out from these camps, you have to collect these resources, break down these air conditioners that are freezing the world, and the way that you can survive to go further away from camp, stay out longer in the cold, and even through some more difficult regions of the game for higher rewards and things, is actually by staying really close to other players. So as you get more players huddling together, you can generate heat. So you can see, for example, the heat bar on the bottom left there. As you get closer to other players, or as you're kind of like swimming in water and things like that, will change. So the way to kind of survive out there longer is by hanging out with other people and collaborating by going to these difficult locations and getting these hard to get resources before you freeze.
Which we're seeing.
Which happens a lot, and it's part of the fun.
And it's kind of what is kind of quite entertaining is the way things have gone. And this is kind of like the anti-social distancing thing, isn't it? Like
yeah.
Obviously,
it was designed before that.
Yeah, predict that one coming, but yeah.
It gives us all the opportunity to do that in a safe way now. We're all desperate to get closer to other people.
Yeah, we promise there are no viruses in this game. We promise. You are safe.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, and there's lots and lots of really cool areas to explore. So if you do get a larger group, being able to get to some of the areas that are underground, in caves, underwater, it's the environment, like being able to set up the environment. Actually, Dean did an amazing job on a lot of what you see here is his hand in sculpting the environments and stuff. There's so much really cool things to kind of nooks and crannies to discover, which is really neat.
So you were talking about kind of that, it lived up to Crayta lived up to your expectations. It lived up to the sell. So how did you find, kind of actually when it came to sort of properly prototyping the game, and sort of how quickly did you get it up and running, and how did you find the tools when you really got stuck in?
Yeah, this is going to sound like a real big sell for Crayta. I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of documentation. I don't mind writing down a few ideas, but I'm not a big fan of kind of spending too much time in documents because games are meant to be played. That's the idea behind them. So when we talked about Crayta, we came up with these very small kind of like, here's a small idea, here's a small idea. How about a game where we use warmth? How about a game where we do this? And once we got through that and Crayta gave us access to the tool set, as we were talking and having the discussion point, this is before we put the pitch in for the game. I built a very, very preliminary version of this in an afternoon. I mean, the very first afternoon that I touched the platform. And that was the thing that gave us the absolute confidence that we could pitch this idea and deliver it. So yeah, I mean, that's I don't think you can say more than that, which I'd say I found it quicker to build the game than it did to write it down.
Yeah, that by far is one of the huge strengths of this, is to be able to rapidly prototype some ideas, and not just the idea, the gameplay. Being able to open up other projects and see how other games were built. There was a lot of really cool templates that the team at Crayta had already made available. So we were able to kind of see something really interesting and go, oh, I wonder how they did that, and open that up and bring it in. So it was just an amazing, like I said, kind of toy box that we could play with right away, which was awesome.
So presumably that's what you'd suggest that other people do, because as I was saying to Andrew from Spilt Milk earlier, you guys are experienced developers. You sort of know what you're looking for when you're digging around the menus. But if you weren't quite as familiar with all that kind of thing, how would you suggest that the mere mortals that haven't done game development before could get stuck into it?
Yeah, you got to embrace the community and find out information. That's the big secret of being a game developer or any software developer. Really is. We have Google out there. We can search for answers, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. So don't try and solve every problem yourself. A lot of problems have been solved by other people. So that's communicate with other people and find out answers online. So yeah, our experience with Crayta was great because we weren't in a silo. We did communicate with the other indie developers. So we shared solutions. We got to see what other people were working on, and we could kind of riff off each other as well. You'd see something cool in another game, so we'd go and do kind of our own play on that idea. So once Crayta is out there and launched, the community building games is going to be great for that sharing of everyone. You are building your own game, but you can go and share in the knowledge base that's being created by others.
It's probably worth pointing out that obviously our Discord is pretty active already. And so, obviously the mods are on fire this evening in the YouTube chat. They're answering loads of questions, but they're pretty active on all of our channels. So if you've got any questions in the meantime, but also just to reassure you that we've got a whole load of other stuff that we've not announced yet that will be sort of places and information and ways that you can kind of hang out and exchange with the community in all sorts of different ways and knowledge share and kind of improve what you're doing. So yeah, like the guys are saying, don't go it alone. There'll be plenty of help there for you.
Yep.
So what are you guys most excited about with Crayta?
It's got to be the numbers of players. The spec, obviously, being an online game and then supporting lots of players. Only Fernando and I worked on it predominantly, so we didn't get to experience it with the large number of players outside from our weekly tests and stuff. I'm really looking forward to seeing like the biggest crowd going around there and see if they what they can achieve, how long they can survive for, what kind of high scores they can set. Because there's another thing about being a game developer. It doesn't mean you're a great game player. And you always look at people playing the games that you've made, and they're so much better than you are. So I'm always amazed by watching people play games that I've worked on, and they teach me things about my own games that I never expected, tricks and tactics. So I'm looking forward to that side of things, of watching people play, and they're going to teach me a lot about this game that I don't know.
What about you?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's one of those things that when you're creating a game, you kind of have a vision of what you want to do, but especially in an environment like this, that it's collaborative and it's very community focused. The most exciting thing is to now see what players actually end up doing and how they end up using the game, and finding those nooks and crannies and finding those hidden things and collaborate on how to get there, and even taking some of the packages and and things that we did potentially in using it in their games in really interesting ways as well. So that as a developer, that to me is always one of the most interesting parts, is seeing how players end up taking what you did and kind of riffing on it themselves and creating something that's really interesting and unique.
Yeah, they always find a way of doing something you hadn't expected, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
So do you think you guys will, once this launches, you will go in and evolve Huddle for Warmth, or kind of add new stuff to it, or maybe even make something new in Crayta?
Yeah, I definitely see that. Like the pitch that we put forward is pretty much what you see on screen. You know, because we knew the timeline that we were building within, but if we remove that timeline and we're given more time to work on the game, there's a lot more ideas. You know, as you're playing this and as you're experiencing it, you come up with heaps of ideas that you'd like to add. And so getting the opportunity to go back in there and maybe tweak some things and add some new features. Yeah, I'm really excited. Actually, we just talked about this before we went live. One of the things that I really, really wish I would have put in is when somebody does freeze, we put a little marker point somewhere to make that. So if you're running around and you discover them at the top of one of the mountains or something, a small marker point of where someone froze, you've got that narrative there of, you know, someone sat
those
your
that
mind.
came before you. Yep.
Yeah. Can you get a bit further than that? So.
Yeah, and I think the other part too is, like, to be perfectly honest, it's just fun. I mean, it's actually really nice to be able to jump on something like this and be able to play around with ideas. There's no shortage of that. And then, like I said, even just seeing how other players are playing it, and or potentially where players are struggling, and then being able to improve that is always great with an online experience like this.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Well, with that, we will hand back to Russ, and he can show everybody a little bit more about the other things in Crayta that we've not spoken about yet. Massive thank you again, guys, for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it, and thank you for Huddle, because it's just amazing. Yeah, thanks very much, and we look forward to seeing what you do to it once we go live.
Absolutely, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thanks a lot for being a part of this. Thanks.
Back to you, Russ.
Yeah, okay, thank you guys. No, that was really interesting. As I say, it's just, I love this map and this game in that every time I play it, I'm just constantly finding new places and new vistas. And yeah, I've done a lot of gameplay in this, as I say, filming various things for trailers we've made, but I always find myself in a new place. So yeah, no, good job on that one. Okay, I'm going to jump back over to the main group.
Was there gold?
Okay, hi gang.
Hello.
How are you getting on? You're having fun?
Yeah.
Did I just abandon you to die, Russ?
I think so. I got a little bit lost. Again,
I found.
I was just listening to the interview and just like, yeah, it's really interesting stuff the guys were saying, and then just trying to find you guys constantly. But I hooked up with you a couple of times, so that seems to work out quite well.
Mm-hmm.
You saw us attack the big one.
Yes, yeah, we didn't make it very far, though, did we?
I failed attempts.
We just all collapsed in a big pile. So, okay, cool. Right, I'm going to jump back to the hub. I don't know if you guys want to do the same. We'll go hang out there for a little bit. Okay, so as we said before, we mentioned at the start of the stream, we are kind of really excited to be launching with the state share beta. So the ability to share your games with your audience, you know, with your friends, or whatever your kind of purpose in Crayta, you know, whether you create a social space to just share with friends, or whether you're kind of working on a game that you want to put forward and be part of our the prize fund. So we are running a prize fund when we launch, and we'll be rewarding creators of certain criteria, you know, the best games, most popular games. So if one of the mods want to share the blog post around the prize fund, one really nice way to actually promote your game is actually using the state share beta. So what we're going to do now is just play through a couple of the games that we've made on previous streams, just to show you the sort of things that you can put together in a relatively short space of time. And if you wanted to go back and watch any of those streams, as I say, do make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube and go back and check that that kind of archive of the previous streams. So first, we're going to jump into one we made on a little bit earlier in our streaming catalogue as Capture the Clouds. Okay, so if you guys want to jump back in there. Obviously, Chris is already resharing it, way ahead of me. Yeah, the chat looks like it's crazy tonight, and I apologise not looked at the chat too much, but seems like the mods are doing a great job at following that. But yeah, you guys just keep your questions coming. We love finding out, you know, what kind of questions you guys have. We'll do our best to answer them. Okay, so Capture the Clouds. This is a Capture the Flag game. So this was built from our Capture the Flag starter game. And instead of using conventional weapons, we made this sort of great big hammer thing on stream, which should just knock players around. Oh, I just fell off. So
I
I'm
was
playing.
actually waiting for you to hit me.
You made it too easy. So I am on controller still. I don't even know if Maggie was on my team. Oh, she was. Sorry, Maggie. Ooh, okay, power up.
Oh, everyone's got the super heavy power up. The shield.
Oh, same team.
Sorry.
Looks like Sean's got their flag.
Okay, I think if they haven't got a name tag above their heads, they're on the opposing team.
Ooh,
Oh,
Okay.
come on.
Springy legs, jump modifier.
Someone knocked me off.
Get him.
Yes, Sean.
Damn it, Sean.
Yep,
No.
Okay, I'm gonna defend our scarecrow.
Okay, one thing you might notice here as well is the slight different camera angle. So here we're using our built-in camera of the orbit camera. So we get this slightly more like MMO style camera. So we are able to do various camera angles for all our games. Oh, I missed him. So you will have seen at the start the Crayta Cooking, use a fixed camera. So that was actually using a camera placed in the world, and then through the API, we're actually able to give players the perspective of that camera. So it's really quite flexible in terms of the perspective that you can provide to players.
oh.
Brilliant.
Oh, I can't hit you.
Oh no, they've got our flag.
Ah,
You see him on your team.
Sorry, I realised I hit you.
Someone recover our flag. I'm waiting with theirs at our base.
I'm trying, I'm getting double teamed.
Yeah, I got knocked off.
Okay, it's coming up.
Is it? Is it? Sean, why did you tell me that? Where is it?
Well, I knocked him off as he was coming up, so
You must have landed on another platform.
I'm trying my best.
Your best isn't good enough.
Okay, 2 minutes left.
That was you with the flag.
Dang it.
Wait, are you knocking the wrong people off, Sean?
Oh, I'm clipping on the stairs. Okay, right. Are both flags captured? They're out in the wild somewhere, I think.
Oh, I knocked Maggie off.
Dang it.
Yes, go,
Yes.
Adam.
Okay, 2 points for our team. 2 minutes remaining.
Oh no,
Okay, I'm going for a third flag.
You're so brave, Sean.
I know.
I'm gonna try
Well,
first. I'm gonna try first person. See if that helps. Oh wait, no, I can't do first person from orbit cam, can I?
I love all the stuff
Whoa.
flying up.
I think-
Yeah, Adam did a really good job for that.
It makes it so much more dramatic.
It does, yeah.
I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that was the suggestion on the stream chat when we did this one.
That was actually, yeah. Yeah, so if anyone here watching hasn't seen our previous streams, we do tend to, try and open it up to the chat as much as we can, and we'll take suggestions. So the teleport pad was a chat suggestion. The stuff flying around was also a chat suggestion. So, if you're excited to sort of share ideas for things, and do make sure you subscribe and join in with the live streams. We try to make them as sort of fun and friendly as we can, and and get all these suggestions in.
I'm getting a really weird pandemonium vibe from this. Pandemonium. Do you remember that game? Really old.
Can't
But-
say I do.
Castles
Yeah,
in the
PlayStation
sky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Something about the music, something about the castles.
Yeah. I'm going to play that now.
Oh, sorry, Lucy.
Oh, I
You're
just
on my
ran
team.
off. I think I've killed myself more than anyone's actually got me. I just keep running off the platform. Oh, and again, nice. Okay, 20 seconds left.
Oh, I like the fast run.
Hey, finally got someone off. Right. Okay, 3 seconds left. All right, well played, red team.
Nice.
Oh yes.
Nicely done.
No help from me.
No. Okay.
0 points.
So there's an idea of a game that you can build relatively quickly. We built that in about an hour, just over an hour on stream. So as I say, that sort of thing. And if this was a game that you were pleased with and you wanted to share it with your friends, then obviously you could share the link to this game to get people to come in and either play test it or just get it, get it promoted on your own streams. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you that video again that we've played at the start, and hopefully that'll give you sort of a really good idea of how the state share beta is going to work in Crayta. Okay, so hopefully you guys have a good idea now of how the state share beta can really help you promote your game through live streams, or as I say, just through sharing it with friends to get them to come and play it. In that time, we've jumped over to another one of our games that we built on stream. This time we're looking at Adventureland. So Adventureland is using our adventure starter game, and we added quite a few things to this game in the time we were on stream. So again, if you want to go check out that live stream, the archive is available. Maybe if a mod wants to grab that one again, I'll put you on the spot, see if you can find that one. But the idea here is it's just a kind of drop in, drop out game. So even though Crayta comes with kind of multiplayer out of the box support, and we still want to kind of encourage players to explore games. So this game is an example of that kind of drop in, drop out, not necessarily a round based mechanic. So a lot of the games we've seen have been on that round based thing. So obviously if you some games you might not be able to join mid round, or there'll be certain mechanics around that. This is an example of a game that you can just jump in as a single player and play by yourself. You don't have to kind of wait necessarily for a team of people for the round to start. And it should hopefully give you an idea of the a slightly different take, so less combat orientated and more of just a fun exploration kind of RPG game.
I really like the camera style in this game.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah, so this is kind of almost like your sort of Diablo, like Torchlight, those sort of action RPGs, playing on that sort of mechanic. So again, this time I'm using the orbit camera, but we have an option to fix the camera. So instead of being able to use the right stick or the mouse to pan the camera around, we've kind of fixed it in this almost kind of isometric angle. And again, I'm still playing all this on the controller, so you may have just seen I went up into the shop a moment ago, so we can have the UI actually interactable. So the UI acts as a shop interface to be able to buy and sell things in game, and all that's definable sort of in game. And we'll, as you say, if you watch the stream, we kind of dive into a little bit of the mechanics around that. I found myself a nice big gem to go and sell.
Oh, there's a little lake here to go have a swim in. It's cool.
Oh yeah, there's a lake up at the top. I haven't actually shown any water yet, I don't think.
And it has gem chests in it. And is that a glowing green skull?
It's
Is that a
probably
Rust Classic
a
somewhere?
Rust. That's a Rust Classic glowing green skull in the bottom there somewhere. Yeah, so if you ever playing a game made by me on Crayta, do keep an eye out for a lake with a green skull in it. It's a classic.
If it has a lake, it has a green skull. Or any body of water, for that matter.
Okay, so another thing this game demonstrates actually from our kind of world settings is it's a really easy way to you can get a day-night cycle going. And you can also do things with the API and the Lua scripting based on the in-game time of day. So here it's actually, you see it's got much darker, but what we've done at this sort of time of day is got all the lights to come on. So we get these nice lights, or the chest there. See if that's, well, that's locked still. Okay, so if I come down here through the orchard back to base camp, see someone mining away at that rock. Oh, I'll steal your gold.
Don't steal my gold, get out. I've got an axe.
Oh, actually, yeah, it's an interesting thing. So, Adam, do you want to talk us through your kind of, what do you call it, the dialogue tree?
Yeah, the dialogue statue, I guess. I think it's a statue mesh there.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's got a sort of dialogue tree system on it, which is quite a nice thing for adventure-y games like this. So essentially, it's just a package that anyone can download from the store, and it makes it really quick and easy to set up a full dialogue tree, so you can go talk to a statue or, I don't know, a meat voxel dragon, whatever sort of thing you want to go and talk to in your game. And you basically just define like the messages it can say and the responses you can give, and if those responses then lead to another message, or if they lead to an action happening, or if they end the dialogue. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just lets the user define whatever they want, really.
Nice. Adam, would you mind coming back to the orchard and just cutting down a tree for me, so I could get some logs to sell, so I could buy my first axe?
I am heading to the orchard. This map feels so big.
It does feel big.
Orchard.
Yeah, this is a really nice way of using this camera angle, actually, kind of really nicely. Kind of makes the maps just feel extra big.
I was trying to chop it down with a pickaxe, not an axe, so that didn't work.
Thank you very much.
Second tree if you want it.
That's okay, I should have enough now to go and buy my first axe. If I sell those logs. Okay.
Well, if anyone wants money, I'm leaving logs in the orchard.
So as I say, this game was created on a stream from the start of the game, but within about an hour to an hour and a half, we had this sort of game up and running. So if we had a lot more time, if we spent weeks, if not months, working on this, we could add so many more mechanics. We could start adding things like an XP system, anything we really want to start adding to our own adventure game is kind of possible with the the Lua scripting and all the different things. I'm really excited to see kind of where players can take this style of this game. So it is a particularly fun one to start working with.
So easy to get lost in this map. Where is the base camp?
Is that enough for a pickaxe? It is. Okay, so let's mine a couple of rocks.
Ooh, the gold is very valuable.
Gold is very valuable. It's a nice way of just boosting that by that cave key. So what we'll demonstrate now as well is the ability to have multiple worlds within a game. So you're not just confined to one world within your game, but you can have multiple and you can transition between them. So for example, in cooking, we saw that we had a lobby world that we transitioned then into the kitchen. So let's just sell this, make a load of money off the gold. And I'm going to buy myself a cave key and a sword. Got this nice trail on the sword. It's always a cool effect. Okay, I go adventuring at night. Okay, so if I come far enough in this direction, there's this cave over here, this cave entrance. So normally there'd be a trigger box on here that would bounce me back if I didn't have the cave key, but because I do, I'm going to come and stand in here and start traveling to that world. And now what we get is a sort of quick transition, loading screen as we load into that world. If any of you guys want to come and join me. This is much spookier environment. It's not quite as nice, quite adventurous music. It's a little bit darker, dimmer, different, change to the world setting. So there's no day-night cycle in here, but we've defined our own world settings. So it's got this kind of colder feel to it. And the idea here is we've actually set this world up to act more like a PvP zone. So if you wanted an adventure game with specific areas for PvP, then you can do that. You know, it's kind of entirely up to you and your game design choice, which is why I bought my sword, because I know that the other guys will probably be coming to try and find me now.
Trying to find the cave first. Such a big map.
It is a big map. You want to head sort of southeast of camp-ish.
Yes.
Yeah, basically straight to the right down the path.
Got it. I am coming in now.
Oh, I can see your trail. Okay, so we've got very basic combat in here, but you know, there's a lot you could do to start making the combat more advanced. Well played. Interestingly, and what that's going to do now is take me back to the main camp. So the mechanic for the way we chop down trees and the way that we do the sword combat and all that stuff is actually using the same script and package as the hammer in the previous game. So it's just another example of how we can take things from one game we've made and actually extend them over to other games. Cool, right. I think we'll jump into our next stream game just quickly. We'll play a couple of rounds of this one. So this is one, it's a really nice showcase of the UI again. So this is the one we made, I think it was only last Friday. If I can find it here somewhere. Where are we looking? So actually what I might just do is have a quick search. So there we are, Super. I can see Super Doom all there, but Superhero Simulator. Okay, so if you guys want to jump into Superhero Simulator with me, this is another example of a drop-in, drop-out style game. So the idea here is I can just come in and play this game by myself. You know, I don't have to wait necessarily for enough players to start a new round. This is a really heavily stylized game, but it's a time trial. So the idea is I'm racing my own time. So there's other players in the map, but I don't have to worry about them. It's just purely how quick can I get around the map.
Got a queue for the arcade machine. Oh no, I missed.
New personal best. Nice, nailed it. Sean, do you want to just talk to us a little bit about, you know, working with the UI and, you know, kind of how you found it? Because you did all of this kind of UI, the cool graphics and all that sort of stuff within the stream, didn't you?
Yeah, so this was quite a fun one to do. So whilst everyone was building and stuff, I was externally using a graphics editor to build these. So like when you jump, you've got that comic book style effect around the edge of the screen. That's basically a vector image, which I've made a full screen widget and made as like a background image, and that sort of sits there around the edge of the screen like that. And you can see for like the comic effect at the top on the timer. So those are effectively two divs using HTML and CSS. I managed to rotate them and skew them slightly, and sort of got that nice shadowy offset that you get in comic books. So it's actually really cool. In like the space of, what was it, like an hour we did this?
Yeah, I think this one was one of our quick ones, yeah.
So just able to use graphics editor. You can upload them via this Crayta website that will have reference images in your UI, and you can make stuff that looks really cool and stylized like this really quickly.
Yeah, cool. As I say, like I had this idea of kind of doing a superhero time trial to sort of go along our comic book announcement. Just another link there for the mods, perhaps, if you can find our blog post about our comic book announcement that we did a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I figured it would be quite a good one to celebrate alongside that, and I never imagined you'd be able to make this look as cool as you did with the
I didn't know either. I
UI.
got some bunch of squares rotated, and I was like, oh, actually, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, no, it looks really great. Cool. Okay, so that was a very quick example of just a really kind of quite powerful UI example of, you know, how the games can look. I think we're almost coming towards the end of our stream here, so if you do have any questions, then make sure you get them in now. To say we're not going to be on for too much longer, so if you do have any questions, get them in. If you have any questions that don't get answered, or if we if you think of something after, then do make sure you head over to our Discord and join over there. That's just crayta.com/discord to find that. I think what we should do, guys, just to wrap this out, is go and play one of our favorite games that we made And I know the stream have always enjoyed when we played this, so let's go play a couple of rounds of Prop Hunt.
Oh,
Yeah.
The firm favourite. Okay. So, Adam, this is one that kind of, I guess, we kind of created, but you took kind of the main driving force for. So, you wanted to talk us through what this game is and kind of where it came from?
Yeah, sure. So, I think there's a couple of different games that have a sort of prop hunt style game mode, but we actually came up with this idea in a really interesting roundabout way. So, I think Russ and I were trying to create an adventure game, kind of similar to the one we just played a couple of games back. And I was trying to work out a shield mechanic, and I thought, what if we sort of attached a prop to the player and turn that on when they shield themselves? And I ended up choosing a tree accidentally, pressed play, and just kept turning into a tree. And I was like, well, this is more fun than whatever we were going to make before, so why don't we just make a game where you turn into trees and things? So that's pretty much how Prop Hunt was born. Oh no. I'm too busy talking and not concentrating on not dying. So yeah, basically it's, a fairly simple premise. Anyone who's not the hunter can basically just click the main button to turn into a prop at any time, and they can turn back into a player, and they've got to hide in this office full of other randomized props, which is different every time, so that you can't sort of learn the layout of the map. And basically they've got to just try and survive about, 3-minute round with the hunter trying to shoot them. And if they don't move for a while, then they'll start to emit like a beeping sound, and they'll show up on the hunter's radar. So basically that just forces all the players to keep moving and keep hiding in more interesting places. I can't take any credit for the artwork on this one though, which is a really, really nice office space. That was all TAC Art Outsource Manager who worked on this one.
Yeah, so oh no, he's seen me. I've just done a really good job of evading JJ.
I just saw you right then on the CCTV.
I was so close to him, and yeah, well played, JJ. But yeah, this was a really fun game. As I say, we kind of got born out of, like you say, that mistake we made in the other game, and then I think I was like, well, this looks a lot like Prop Hunt, and then we were like, yeah, let's just go make Prop Hunt. Yeah, it is a really good fun one, and as I say, I know a lot of people got excited when we saw that we had this. Okay.
Prop Hunt is the best game.
Oh, Lucy this
Oh,
time.
Lucy.
Okay, what have I got? Oh, I've got the toilet. Okay.
Well, you can't say that. You've given it
Oh,
away.
there's going to be
Oh.
toilets. There's going to be more.
You don't know that.
I didn't
It
say I
should
was,
be a skeleton.
Type yourself.
I didn't say I was any any good at this. Yeah.
God damn it.
So tense.
So this is an example, actually, again, of a game where we were able to control the different perspectives of the players. So as a prop, I've actually still got this orbit camera that we've used a couple of times. But
No.
as the hunter, we're actually forcing you into a first-person perspective, which does make it a lot easier to kind of hide in their kind of, out of the corner of their vision. So hopefully at one round I'll be the hunter and you get to see that. Oh hey, I almost called out what you were, prop that I've just walked into. So
Stay away, toilet.
You're in trouble if Lucy's watching the stream as well, Russ.
Yeah. So I already kind of stream sniped myself, but yeah, I'm definitely in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh no. Nice.
Oh.
Okay, I'm on.
Thank you, BJJ.
So now I'm dead. We've actually introduced in this game a bit of a CCTV system, so I get to flick around and just see the hilarity of props sliding around the level.
You watching the kitchen, Russ?
I am, yes.
Not to give away any secrets, but
No.
you watch the kitchen.
I am watching the kitchen.
Ooh.
Oh, I can see someone sliding around in the office as well.
Lucy can't make up her mind.
Oh no.
Oh.
on, JJ.
Oh. If JJ can win Doomwall, he can win Prop Hunt.
I don't know. He'll start beeping soon.
Oh,
He will.
No.
So Lucy,
on,
can
Lucy,
you see which,
you got
which
40
way he is
seconds.
on your radar?
Which one is he? Oh.
Oh, oh.
From
Oh,
JJ.
oh. Go, JJ, go.
Oh no.
Oh,
So
God. Come on.
we also have this mechanic here that if the hunter shoots and hits something that isn't a prop, they will actually end up frozen for a second.
I've lost.
Oh, I'm the worst shot,
10
honestly.
seconds.
Awful.
Go,
Oh.
JJ, go.
6, 5 seconds.
Go! 3, 2.
Oh, he's done it.
No.
Nice.
Win.
So
I
close.
had any sort of capability of shooting things at me.
Dodge, dip, duck, dodge, and dive. Yeah.
Well played.
Well played.
Yeah.
Well played. I'll give you a thumbs up.
Everyone give JJ a thumbs up.
I don't have a thumbs up. I can juggle.
Good enough.
Okay, Maggie.
Right.
Oh, I'm the toilet again. Oh no.
Or are you?
Or am I?
If I were a wheelchair, where would I be hiding?
Oh, that sounded close.
Really scary part of this is when you hear a gunfire and then someone's name just grays out.
Yeah.
Heard it
They're
go.
gone.
Or I think the worst thing is when you hear a door open and it's
Mm.
like you suddenly freeze, like especially if it's really close.
I just had a great moment.
I can't believe I haven't seen any of you.
Oh, that was close.
I just stood in front of the elevator as Maggie came up doing the.
Oh, I shot you, but nothing happened.
Yeah, because I was doing a juggling emote, and he doesn't play a death animation when you're juggling, so I stood there, and then just vanished, and his fruits just fell to the floor.
Who is that?
Who is what? No.
Oh,
No.
You're all very quiet.
concentration.
Trying to hide.
Ah, who's got the
Oh,
unlucky
oh,
one in there?
Oh, oh. Oh no. Oh no. Nice. Okay. We're gonna have another JJ clutch victory.
I love
I
how
didn't
some of
realize.
these. Sorry, Sean, go.
As I say, the prop who is in the room.
Yeah. With the projector room.
Meg's just paranoid now. She's shooting everything.
Where are you?
Which one is it?
No, I was just gonna say I love how like this is such a normal office, and then you just see props that are just so random.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
So
like a sword or anything, but you know.
I think you mentioned, but we've used the power of the API and the kind of we can spawn things at runtime. So the kind of layout of the office and what's on the tables is all completely random every game. So you don't actually get to learn the props, and you even give them like a slight rotation, don't you, to kind of really offset them.
Yeah, they've all got a little bit of jiggle, so you can't work out, hey, was that chair exactly there last time? Because it might have actually moved anyway.
Oh.
Wait, where are we looking?
Nowhere. You're not looking anywhere.
I'm like, where are you?
Oh, it's so.
Maggie doesn't even need the radar for the props. She can just hear us going, ooh.
Ah. That was very brave,
JJ.
Lucy.
JJ again.
Hiding in plain sight.
That was very, very brave.
It's like, I'm in the room. She must know where I am, right? I'll just sit still. That's it. There's nothing I can do now.
Okay.
What prop were you?
It was a sword. Just
Oh,
You were
you're
the
the
sword.
I was behind the desk. So you couldn't shoot me directly without coming round, and I was hoping if you went left, I was going to go right.
Yeah, that was a good prop to have.
Ah.
And small props so far.
Oh, Matt
Oh, it's
Bailey.
Matt Bailey.
Oh, on the toilet again.
Are you saying that every single round?
Whoa, no, what a shame.
It goes so quiet once everyone's got their hiding place.
It does.
Oh, hi Russ.
Oh, hello.
Hello. You don't fit in very well here.
What, and you do? I guess you do
Yes.
actually, yeah.
Well, do I?
Well, you
I
fit
guess
up.
I've positioned myself on the table quite well.
Yeah.
Not that I'm an object that goes on tabletops. You'll never know what I am.
I'm going to stick with you.
Aw.
Oh, I'm going to the projector room. I mean the toilets. I hope I didn't give anything away there.
Go!
Thanks for being the bait, Russ.
While his gun was frozen. I don't know if you saw what prop I am, so hopefully you didn't.
You saved me there, though. Hello, phone.
Who is that?
Oh, nicely played.
3 left.
Is he just shooting wherever now?
It does sound like it. I can just hear the gunshots behind me.
Yeah, he's fairly trigger happy. But I've seen one of you.
I'm beeping.
Stop it.
No.
Unlucky.
He was chasing me for a while there.
Is JJ going to make it again?
Is he? JJ secretly plays this every day, probably. Oh no! Oh, I think that was a guess. Right.
Where's Maggie?
Now it's the game of Find Maggie on the CCTV.
Yeah. Remember, you got to keep moving. Oh, there she is.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
It's so tiny.
Which camera?
I would give it away.
Camera 4.
Oh, camera 4. It does.
Oh. Nice.
Where is he? I'm so scared.
Maggie, don't move.
Obvious.
Oh.
He's got 6 seconds.
I reckon the props have won.
Oh,
Oh, you've done it, Maggie. You've done it.
Nicely played.
Yes.
You're a hero.
Maggie the phone.
That was a very good round.
That was a good
That
round.
was fun.
Tense. Don't feel like I've done very well as a prop in any of these rounds.
Yeah, you're right. Let's hope I get the hunter this time. That'd be interesting perspective to show. Hunter's coming.
No,
Oh, it's
me.
Lucy
Oh,
again.
Lucy.
I'm ready for Lucy versus JJ part 2.
Oh, all the toilets are occupied. And I don't mean by people. I mean by skeletons and things.
Oh, I panicked then, thinking you were the hunter, but you don't have a gun in your hand. So
This office always contains the most exciting things, like a rocket launcher just next to the coffee machine.
Yeah, why not?
It's based on work, right?
It's yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
based
you
on
know-
the UGG office.
Yeah, that dodgy coffee machine we have upstairs that you have to just hit with a rocket launcher to
Oh,
get it going in the morning.
Oh, who's that?
Oh, that's a
Oh,
guess.
it's Russ. Hi, Russ.
Hello.
See.
Can I get on you?
Wait, use
What
the
are
sofa and
you?
then try and like jump on top of my character's head.
Or I could just sit behind you here. Stealth.
Oh,
That also works.
I'm
I
trying to
guess you
watch
acted as bait for me before. I'm
You're all
beeping.
in here, aren't you?
Yeah, we've just gone to play Tumbleweed Ridge.
wait, was I the only one that? Oh,
What's
I
up,
saw
Sean?
someone.
I just realised I'm the only one to have been shot.
Aw.
Aw.
Uh-oh.
That's kind of.
I haven't seen Lucy for a while. It's kind of scary.
Aw.
Oh, that was close.
Lucy is where you were.
It's always a good tactic to keep an eye on the hunter from a distance.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Especially as you can poke, you can look around the corner as well.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just watching Lucy. Oh, no.
Oh no! Oh,
Go.
Go.
What just happened?
I can't aim the gun. I'm hopeless. Honestly.
Oh no, I got stuck on the
lost.
chair.
To be fair, there's only 2 left, Lucy.
Oh, we're on for Lucy
9
versus JJ.
seconds. JJ gonna kinch it again.
Hi Adam.
Go away, Russ. I know you're only CCTV, but still. See, they're all occupied. I don't know if you followed me on the CCTV.
Yeah, I can see you. Oh, that'd be an interesting place to stay.
Yeah, just stay there.
I think that tactic's known as the Robin. I remember when in the early versions of this, he'd always get into weird places like that.
Oh,
Yes.
Cool. Okay,
last time.
I think let's go one more round, and then we'll probably start to wrap this up. So,
Right.
yeah, if anyone has any questions in chat, do make sure you get them in now, and we'll do our best to answer them in the next few minutes.
like
Perfect. Final round is
Yeah.
me as the hunter. Right. Get ready, guys.
Oh, I'm a toilet.
Very good. Wait, no, I'm the toilet.
Wait, what?
We're all toilets.
That's deep.
Deep man.
Oh no, I hit the monitor. Okay, so you should be able to see just next to me here on the screen, I've got this radar. So as someone stood still, it's going to start beeping. You don't belong there. That door just opened. Yeah, it'll start beeping and actually get a little blip in the direction of someone who's not moved. And all of that's made using the HTML, CSS, JavaScript with a bit of Lua to kind of power it. You don't belong there. Yeah, so the UI isn't just necessarily about displaying numbers and health bars and stuff. You can actually make some really powerful, really quite cool bits of kind of gameplay out of the UI. You look like you don't belong there, Mr. Microwave. Oh no!
I was so scared.
I didn't even see what you were as well. That's the worst thing.
I can tell which one's JJ now from the CCTV. You've got this trademark movement, JJ.
Oh damn! I didn't see what you were. Are you the coffee cup? No.
I'm scared now.
Right, you're one of these things over here, Mr. Water Cooler.
No!
Okay,
I
minute
said I was a
15.
toilet.
Whoever it is I'm watching the camera is hilarious. That was close.
That was
Oh,
close.
was it? Was it green chair?
Oh,
Oh, it's Russ versus JJ.
Right, come on, JJ, you can do
JJ,
this.
hide!
I thought I had views on all the doors. I didn't.
Yeah, that was a good spot.
JJ is a pro. He knows what to do.
I like to go really quick in and out of a room just to fuck people up.
Oh my god, JJ!
It's the right tactic, Russ.
Yeah.
But it's in the right place.
Get away.
Go on, JJ. I believe in you. Oh no!
You can do it!
Oh,
There was a toilet there. Wait, where did that toilet go? I'm sure I just saw a toilet and.
Come on.
Come
Again,
15
on!
right.
seconds, JJ.
15 seconds.
right idea, Russ. Wrong place.
No.
No!
Where?
Oh.
Oh, was it a toilet? Wait, was it a toilet? It was a
I
toilet.
don't. JJ, no.
It's not in 0 seconds.
That was 0 seconds.
Oh, that was good. I think there's no better way to end a stream.
Oh, my cheeks hurt.
Oh, that was good. Okay, well, thank you guys for joining in. Feel free to carry on. You can keep going with what you're doing. I'm just going to jump out and wrap this thing up. So thank you for helping.
No worries.
Cool. Okay, so hopefully that's been a really interesting look at Crayta for everyone who's here new today. It's been amazing to see the numbers, so thank you everyone who has joined. It's been really, really exciting throughout the day. It's been building up to this this sort of event. We're really excited now to have our launch date out there, so I hope you're just as excited as well to be learning and ready for our launch on the 1st. If the mods want to share out any blog posts from today as well, just get those out for everybody here at the end. But yeah, it's been a super exciting day. If you are new here, then do make sure you subscribe to his here on YouTube. We've got all sorts of videos already up on the channel. We've got showcases of all of the indie games that are going to be, or some of the indie games that are available to play at launch. We've got a load of archived live streams where you learn about some of the games we've played here on the stream tonight. And we've got loads of content planned for the next couple of weeks running up to our launch and beyond. So, we're not going to stop the live streams. We've got plenty of streams coming after. We're also fairly active on Discord. So if you do have any questions that didn't get answered today, then please do join us on Discord. If you just go to crayta.com/Discord, you'll be able to find the link there. Also, Crayta Game on Twitter and Instagram. So there you can keep up to date with the latest news. Or on Instagram, we share a lot of concept art and comic book things and all the all those sort of visual things that you can enjoy over there. So lots of ways that you can follow us and kind of keep up to date with the latest news on Crayta. In the meantime, I hope you do subscribe, as I say, and I hope you've enjoyed that stream and learned a lot. And if you have subscribed, then make sure you set up your notifications, and I'll see you in the next stream next week.